Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Carolina and today I wanted to talk to you guys about my intermediate med-surg experience. It's been a few months and a few terms since I took intermediate med-surg, but I did not have time to make that video at that time, and I wanted to talk to you guys about it and have this video to remember. Okay, and look at me looking like Lord Farquaad with his hair. Oh my goodness, look. Girl. Okay, anyways, let's get to the story. My intermediate med-surg, how I dream about it, only because we are in this quarantine and I have not had hands-on experience since then. Okay, so I miss it. I miss going to the hospital. I miss making my little lunch. I miss fixing my clothes before clinical day to go to clinicals, waking up super early, like 4 in the morning, just to go to clinicals, like for 13 hours. Oh my goodness, I miss it. Okay, and maybe if I was like going and waking up early, maybe I wouldn't. Actually, no, I actually enjoy it. Never mind. I enjoy going to clinical, and so right now I'm reminiscing about those days. And here, where do we start? Okay, so I think in a video I had mentioned that my intermediate med-surg clinical site was in Palmdale, but then it got canceled and I got put in a hospital in, is it Oxnard? Yeah, I think it was in Oxnard. So I had to get up at 4 in the morning, eat breakfast, and I would have to eat like fast breakfast. I always have to eat breakfast in the morning. If not, I'm like gonna pass out. I've never passed out, but I could be one of those students if I don't eat breakfast. I'll be one of those students that goes into clinical and passes out if I don't eat. That's why I make sure to eat every like before clinical. Anyways, I would wake up super early for intermediate med-surg. It was like from February to beginning of April, during that time. I would wake up early because I had to go get a shuttle at school. So I would have either Uber or my dad would take me to school, to the campus, and from there I would have to get a shuttle. So this man was waiting for us there with a little shuttle van, and me and like 2 other students and the professor would get on it and then head to Oxnard, a hospital over there somewhere. I even forgot the name. We would wake up at that time, meet up at campus to go to the hospital in this shuttle. And it was fun. I loved it because I would take like another nap. It was almost like an hour nap. Well, actually, like 40 minutes, maybe more or less, 40 minutes of a drive there. So we would get there, and right away, our professor would kind of talk to us for like 5-10 minutes, and then she would assign us to a floor. And I loved the tele floor. I don't know, I've always like in lecture or like tests, I suck at like cardiac information, okay? That's like the struggle. Like I really admire and love the heart, but when we're in lecture and we have to learn about the heart, like my mind shuts off. But then I push myself because for me it's difficult, and if I don't learn it, it's gonna get harder. So yeah, so I was like, okay, well, I don't like cardiac, and well, not that I don't like it, it's just it's a lot of material to know, so that's why. I was like, you know what, I want a little challenge, because before the first 2 weeks I was put in another unit, and I didn't really like, not that I didn't like the nurses, I think I felt judged, okay? I felt judged by this particular nurse, and I was like, I just want another experience. I want this term to be good. I don't want no negative vibes or stuff like that, okay? Because I don't want to like not do stuff because I feel that way. Yeah, that's just how I felt. So I was like, you know what? The tele sounds interesting. I know there's a lot of like patients with cardiac issues perhaps, so I want a challenge and to learn more about like that stuff, or patients with those issues. So I am so glad I did because I loved the telefloor. Um, I we got into the nursing station and we would talk to the charge nurse and we would be like, okay, can you tell us what nurses can take students, because they had like traveling nurses and they weren't allowed to get students. So we were like, oh, and they would like, okay, this person and this nurse, this nurse can have students, pick. So we would pick, and I picked a nurse, and she was really nice. She was really good. She let me do a lot of things. So I mean, as a student, you do basics. So vital signs, AccuChecks, stuff like that. So that's what I was doing. And then she was showing me like the computer system that they use and how to chart and stuff like that. And I was enjoying it. And she showed me how she takes a paper and she like divides it into fours, or like the little, I don't know, they have like stuff on it, like it's like this sheet of paper where they like keep track of like their patient's vital signs and stuff, just to have it like in printed form. And so she showed me how she color coded stuff, like okay, like black she used for certain things, but things that she needed to go back to the patient for, like if she needed to take the vital signs again within an hour, or she needed to know a certain lab value that she was waiting on to confirm, or like to give a medication or not, she would mark in red. So she's like, I'm gonna show you this is how I do it, but I'm just showing you so you can get an idea of like how other nurses, you know, keep track of their patients and their information. You're gonna meet other nurses, they're gonna do it different, but just you have several options and see what works best for you. And I thought her way of doing things was pretty cool. I will probably tweak things to like better suit me. And I love color coordinate, like not color coordinating, but you know, I like putting different things in different colors. So I think that's one thing that I will. And she had like one of those pens that had the 4 colors, so that's pretty cool. Let's see, what else? Yeah, oh, so there was like several patients that were there because of their heart, but it wasn't as severe. And so I got to talk to them and how they were feeling, you know, keeping track of their vital signs every couple of hours. And there was this one patient who had surgery. I forgot what it was at this point. I forgot, but he had major heart surgery. So he had like a lot of, he had a tube coming out of here, you know, the PICC line. I think it's a PICC line. Is it a PICC line? Yeah. I'm tripping. Okay. And then he had like a big a wound, not a wound, but a scar, because they had just done like major heart surgery. And then he had like other little these wires popping out, not popping out, but you know, they're sticking out. And I forgot what it was called. I forgot what everything was called. I don't remember anything, but I just remember how it looks. And so I focused on this patient the most because this man, he had the most going on. He had a lot of things going on, and I felt really bad, but I wanted to be there for him. And he didn't speak much English, so little things that he would tell me in Spanish, I would, you know, have a conversation with him in Spanish. And the doctors would come in, and there was this one particular doctor who came in while I was doing like wound cleaning with the nurse, and he just kept looking at me, not weird, not in a weird way, just like, oh, this is a nursing student and she wants to learn, let me teach her. So when I was like throwing my stuff, the stuff away, or I don't know what the heck I was doing, but I was like getting the patient stuff like all situated and stuff, he's like, oh, the nurse stepped out and I was the only one in there, and he's like, hey, come here. Like he was gonna show me, I think he was gonna do something with the wires, like, so that the nurse came back in and she had another device that they would like connect it to the wires that the man had and how to check something. So he's like, oh, come here, I want to show you how to use this, and I just want you to see, just so you can start getting familiar with different devices that you might see one day. And he was just like very happy to help a nursing student. Like he really wanted to help a nursing student feel comfortable with learning new things, and I felt comfortable too. And I was like, oh man, like I can't wait to be a nurse. Like I really want to learn my stuff so I could be the best nurse possible. And like little things like that make me like, oh my goodness, I'm so excited to be like a nursing student and like one day a nurse. And so yeah, that I think that was the third week, and I was really excited for that week. I did have a bad experience, all right? Okay, I had a bad experience the second to last clinical. Okay, and it wasn't so bad, but okay, I'll get into the story, but let me okay, so I had to go do something, but I'm back. So the second to last clinical was, overall it was not a bad experience, but I did have an incident or something like get in the way of my positive mood. Okay, so that second to last clinical, I got in there and I chose the nurse that I had always worked for or always worked with. And so we had another side of the same unit where we were always, you know, at the tele floor. And this time I had 2 patients to concentrate on because she was working with another nursing student from another school. So she had a total of 4 patients, but she only gave me 2 to focus on. So one of them, we didn't know, had influenza, and we were all up in there with no protective gear, nothing, but because she hadn't checked the results, or the results were not in from the test that they had made, right? So we were all up in there, and then we came out and she checked and he had influenza. So we were like, oh my goodness, we're gonna get it, you know, we got kids to go home to, stuff like that. But little did we know coronavirus was gonna hit like 2 weeks later here. Anyways, yeah, so this man, I remember he had no legs, so he had like from his bum, like he had no bum up. That was it. And he had influenza. He was there because he had like flu-like symptoms, and yeah, so he had that. I forgot like the details, but yeah, that's why he was there. He did have I don't know why I'm like blanking out, but he had a tube. He had a colostomy. He had a colostomy, and then he had another tube, you know, where the urine comes out, because yeah, it was just like, whoa, like what is what? Because this man was yeah, I don't know why they cut him up like that way, but he had to have a tube because that's the only way he could like eliminate urine. And he had a colostomy because he has no bum, so he has to have the colostomy. So he's had it for years. So yeah, we were helping him clean himself, and he was doing it because he likes to do it on his own. But we were just gathering supplies and helping him out. By this time, we already had our gear for influenza. Yes, and I had another patient, really sad. He had 2 weeks to live, and the family was there, his wife, his kids, and they were really upset because at the nurses. They were really upset at the nurses, and they were just not upset, but they were frustrated because they thought that the man wasn't getting enough attention, or they weren't caring for him as they thought he should. So I went up to them, and I know the nurse I was working for, she was really busy. She really had the big workload on that floor that day. So I told her, don't worry, I'll go and help the patient myself. So obviously she was like guiding me in certain things and coming in to check on him as well. But I was talking to the family because they were, venting to me, and I was like, that I was there to assist them, and I was gonna help them, and if I was able to help in any of the questions that they had, I would go to the nurse and, let her know, but that I was the one, they could ask for help. So I was helping, and but I was nervous too, because there was a lot of things that I was not, my skills are very low in certain things that I had to do, but I still did them. Okay, so this is where the incident starts. Okay, so I had this patient, and he was very sweet. He had 2 weeks to live. This is another patient, right? My second patient. And I went in there, and his breakfast got served, so I asked him if he wanted to eat his breakfast, and I fixed his breakfast for him, and he didn't really want much. He just wanted like a banana. I forgot what he was like the main issue of like why he had 2 weeks, to live. I don't remember exactly. He didn't really want to eat, so I was like, okay. And then it was time. The physical therapist came, and she wanted him to move, get out of bed and, move a little and kind of go to the hallway and kind of like see new things, because he was in the room a lot. And so, the nurse wasn't there, so she couldn't help him. So they were a little, all over the place. But as a nursing student, I'm there to help. So, the physical therapist came, and she's like, oh, can you help me? And I was like, sure. I had never helped a patient ambulate. So I was like, this is my time. So she helped him out of bed, and we put him on a wheelchair. Well, we put the wheelchair right behind him. I was the one with the wheelchair, and she was the one guiding him with the walker. And we had his daughter help, just assist him, just to be near, like on the side. I was in the back, and the physical therapist was in like front side of him too. And so I guess the physical therapist has set a goal up for him so he could walk like certain steps, and he did so well. And I was very happy for him and his family, and they were excited that he was making progress, or just getting out a little. And so we went down the hall and then back, and we placed him on the wheelchair and got him comfortable, put his breakfast back in front of him just in case he wanted. And so I left the room, and I told his family, if you guys need any help, I am here. And if it's something that I can do, then I will gladly do it. And the nurse will also come, but she's, busy. I don't know if that was the right thing to say, but, she was busy. And so that I would be here to help. Okay. So I left, and I wrote down like more notes on my patients and stuff like that. So I think I went to go check on the other patient. I forgot what I had done. I think I was bringing, I brought some supplies. I forgot what I was doing, but the nurse was even more busy at that time. And I stepped out of his room, and then right across is the other patient, right? And the family was telling me, oh, my dad wants to go to the restroom, and he can't. Where's the nurse? Like, why is anybody helping him? And I was like, oh, like, I'm sorry, I can help you. I forgot in what words, but something like that. Okay, don't judge. So then I was like, okay, I can help. So I was like, oh, how does he use the restroom? Like, does he go on the diaper and then needs cleaning? Or, I mean, wouldn't it be obvious if he needed help? Okay, so he needed like one of those portable like toilet things that you can like dump out later and just clean. So, I had never done that. So I was like, I was so nervous. I was sweating and nervous. Okay, and this is where the drama starts. I had like said earlier, but no, this is exactly where it starts. Okay. So I was like, yes, I'll gladly help. But inside, I was like so nervous because I had never helped a patient ambulate and go to the potty, and go to the toilet, or like bring the portable toilet and set them. Or I didn't know like the exact steps. I don't know. I was thinking ATI steps. Okay, and I remember he had a diaper on. But he wanted to use the little portable toilet next to his bed. And so, but I had to bring it. So it was in the room that he had. It's in the bathroom in the room that he had. So I went to go get it. But before I did that, let's, rewind. Before I got the toilet and all that, I was like, yeah, I'll gladly help. But I need help because I had never done that. So I went to go get my nurse, but my nurse had gone to break. So I was like, who do I ask for help, right? And I was so nervous that I wasn't thinking properly or anything like that. Like, I don't know, I was thinking, but I was just so nervous. My heart was racing. I could hear it in my ears. And like for a simple task like that, because I had never done it, so I get a little nervous when it's like my first time. So I went to go ask my nurse. Before she went to break, she told me to go to, I don't know if she was the charge nurse that day. Damn, I don't know. But she took over for her. So she took over for her, and I went up to this lady. And she was in the nursing station getting medications. And I don't know, because I wasn't really thinking so straight, or my experience, wasn't so much. I don't know. You guys judge. Okay, I'm gonna be real at this point. You guys will be the judge of this. You tell me if I was wrong, if I could have done, I don't know. Okay, so I went into the nursing station and I saw her. So I went up to her and she was like, she was busy, and I knew I knew I would have to wait a little bit for her help because she was a little, she was busy at that moment. But I still told her. She was facing the medication cart or whatever, and I was like, my nurse went to break and she told me to come to you if I needed help. The patient in room so and so needs help going to the restroom. I was wondering if you could help me. And like that's my voice. Like, it's, I guess, nice. It's like straightforward nice. Like, I asked for help. This is what I need help for. Can you help me? Nicely, I asked. Nicely. Okay. She, without turning around, well, actually, no, she didn't turn around, but she started talking, and in the middle of what she was saying, she kind of turned around. She's like, you should know how to do that. Don't you know how to do that? You don't know how to clean a patient? Hasn't your school taught you? That was literally my face. I was like blown back. I was like, I felt like shit. I felt so insecure at that moment. I was like, oh, like, are you serious? You're really telling me that? But then immediately as well, I felt insecure, and I was like, oh, well, I should know that. I should know how to do that. Like, fuck, like, I don't know it. Immediately that went away, and I was like, you know what? No, I don't know how to do that. I should, but I don't. And instead of doing something wrong or hurting the patient, how can you hurt the patient? Yeah, I could have hurt. I had to help him. He was like over 200 pounds. He's weak, and I needed help ambulating him to get him to the little portable toilet. And I had never cleaned a patient before, so yes, I needed help, and I didn't respond to her. That was all in my head, right? And I was like, immediately I was like, don't feel that way. In my mind, I was like, I do need help. Yes, cleaning a patient after going to the bathroom is a simple task, but it was my first time, and I'm not gonna feel sorry for coming to ask for help for a simple task, although it seems a little silly. But yes, I needed help ambulating and cleaning, the steps. How do I do this? Show me. It only takes one time to show someone, maybe two, but all I needed was that one time to show me how to clean a patient, how to ambulate and clean him. And so she, with her serious, this happened in like seconds, right? So she told me that, and I'm blown back, like, oh, was she serious? So at that time, at that little quiet time when I was like blown back, she turns back to another nurse, a male nurse, who was on the other side of the nursing station, and he's putting on his sweater and he's looking like, oh shoot. And then she looks back and she starts continuing criticizing me and saying, did you know how to do that when you were in nursing school? I knew it. My school prepared me, or whatever the heck she was yapping. And I looked at the man and I felt more embarrassed. I was like, oh my goodness, like, oh, they are clowning on me, like in my face. And I could tell the male nurse was more like going along with it, like, oh, like, I don't know. It was weird, okay? You want to know what I did? I didn't say one damn word. I felt so dumb and so insecure, but at the same time, like, I'm still going to do this. If she doesn't want to help me, then I'll find somebody else who can help me. Or I'm going to have to do it on my own. I was like, okay. I didn't even say a word. What am I saying? I don't even think I said a word. I don't remember. I don't think I said anything. I was like, because they kept like talking, I was just gonna let them talk to themselves, criticizing me. So they were yapping, and so I didn't see that she wanted to help me. So I stepped out of the room. I didn't even give her my stank face. Like, I would have done that face, but I didn't even do that. Okay, so I stepped out, and then I was like, okay. I stood there for a second right outside the door, and they're see-through so they can see you. And I was like, what am I gonna do? Okay, I don't know. I've never done that. A simple task, yeah, ambulate and clean a patient. I've never done that. Ugh. Okay, who can? Oh, the CNA. But I know the CNA has a lot of work, but I'm still gonna go ask. So I went looking for her, and she was really busy. And I still asked her, and she's like, oh, yeah, I'll go in a second. But she looked really, really busy. So I was like, oh, like, it's okay. So I don't know what she was. She was like, I don't think she was another nursing student, but she was like, she was there to help. Like, I don't think she was a volunteer. Was she a volunteer? I don't know. So this other girl, she kind of saw me looking for help, so she came up to me and she's like, oh, I can help you. So she helped me. We went into the room, and one of the sons came, so he helped too. Oh my god, I was so nervous, and I was like so in my head at this point. We helped the man get on the little toilet, and then I was so like, I could not believe that the nurse had said this, that I immediately, what am I talking about? So we sat him down, and we waited for a little, and then he's like, oh, I'm done. And I was just so still shocked that I got the wipes, the warm wipes, and I started cleaning his butt. I bent down all the way, like, I was in there, my face. And I started cleaning him. And the girl that was helping me, she was like, why are you cleaning him? He has no poop. He has no poop. Like, why are you cleaning him? And I looked down at the toilet and he had not pooped. He only peed. And I was like, and my answer was like, oh, just in case. In my mind, I was like, just in case it's like his poop is stuck. But no, like, no, girl. Like, you were not supposed to clean him, okay? Just because I was like thinking about something else that I got a little distracted. So I still cleaned him. You know, it's not gonna hurt him. He's clean in his butt. And so, yeah, we got him ready. And so the whole day I was very insecure a little. And I kept seeing the nurse and I just kept smiling like that. I didn't even go up to her. She was just like, every time I passed by her because we were leaving. I think we left early that day. I forgot what happened. No, I don't even know. I think we left early that day. Or no, our teacher was gonna show us like how to start IVs. So we left the unit. And I passed the nurse after I went to go say bye to my actual nurse. I didn't even tell her what happened. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. So I went to, one second. My mom just stepped in and so I'm breastfeeding him. That's why you see the angle like a little off now. So where I left off is that, so I went to go say goodbye to my nurse that I had to go because I was gonna go do some skills with my instructor. And I said thank you very much, and I passed by the nurse. I had not told the nurse I was working with what like the little incident that happened. I just told her that I helped the man you know, go to the bathroom and clean him. And I passed by the nurse when I was leaving and she looked at me and I just smiled. I smiled like, and then I left and that was it. I didn't see her after that. This video is gonna be so long because I still have another story of the next week when we came back. My goodness. Anyways, yeah, so that was that day. It kind of helped me realize though, like, yeah, like she was kind of right. I do need to step it up. And it motivated me to like step up my game when it comes to like learning all my skills. So yeah, it was an eye-opener. Although I felt shitty at the moment, it actually helped me. So I always turn negative experiences into positive. You know, yeah, could she have told me differently? Could she have like stepped aside? Could she have showed me? Heck yes. She could have taken her time and helped me. Although it was a silly little skill, she could have helped me. At the end of the day, I learned something from it. I don't judge her. But if I was her, and when I am her one day, because I do want to teach nursing students one day as a nurse, I plan on not judging and teaching them. And it doesn't matter how silly the little skill might be. I will try to remember that when you're a nursing student, the little silly skills are what get you nervous. You're nervous with silly little skills. You don't have much experience, of course. So, yes, this little incident motivated me for the better, hopefully, one day, right? Yeah, so I wanted to tell you guys about that little story. It was a little negative. I didn't let it get to me. I brushed it off really fast. And okay, so let's talk about the next week. This is the last week. This is after we started hearing a little bit about COVID-19. And then after that, that was my last clinical. And it has been since then. It has been my last clinical since then. So this was my last. And I learned a lot from this clinical. It was a very emotional clinical. I didn't know it was going to be my last clinical because it wasn't supposed to be, but it was because of the shutdown, or we couldn't go to class after, or the school or anything. So this day, I'm going to remember it, and I'm going to remember this patient. Excuse me, oh my goodness. In this clinical, I got to do a lot of skills like give injections or, you know, give a medication through an IV with a syringe, I helped somebody. What did I do? I think I gave an injection, and I forgot what other little skills. But I took care of a patient who was 94, 94 years old, something like that. She was a little woman, so sweet. When I came in the room, she spoke Spanish, so I introduced myself, and I did speak to her in Spanish a little bit. And I was taking care of her, and it was a nice time. Vital signs with this new vital sign machine. It's like a new vital sign machine, So the charge nurse, really nice, was helping me learn this new machine because she was learning too. So she's like, "Oh, come here, let's go take vital signs," and she was really nice. And I was like, "Okay, I'm right behind you." And she was doing the vital signs because she was getting to know the machines and, also showing me. And I was doing the AccuChecks right along with her. And, yeah, so I got to know this patient more, and it was time for me, to keep the story short, because this video is going to be like more than 30 minutes. I hope. I think. I think. And it was time for me to go to lunch. But because I was still helping the nurse, I went to lunch a little late this day. And actually, did I pump? I'll get to the pumping later because I have to show you guys little clips of me pumping. I was breastfeeding, so I had to pump because it was long days. Anyways, I strayed. So it was time for me to go to lunch, and I told my patient, this patient, I told her, "Oh, it's time for me to go to lunch, I'll be back." And so I had heard something about her husband not being well. He was at home, and she was here in the hospital, and she was missing him. So I had heard something about her husband not being well, but I didn't think much of it. And when I came back from my from lunch, I heard that she was crying. And I asked my nurse what was going on, and my nurse told me that her husband of over 50 years had passed away. They basically grew up together, and they married, they had children, they lived their life until they were 90 something years old. Beautiful, beautiful story. And I even want to get emotional now talking about it, but her husband died, and she was devastated. She was crying and crying and, asking God, he's gone, how can I live without him? And it just broke my heart because it's such a love story, she's still in my heart, and she's gonna be in my heart forever. And I came in the room, to give her my condolences, and she came in the room, and she's like, in Spanish, she's like, "Ay, mija, my husband is gone." And then she covered her eyes and she continued crying, and I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, le doy mis condolencias." I give you my condolences in Spanish. And she was crying, and she was starting to grieve, in disbelief, and okay, so I went to go put my son down, and I calmed down a little bit because I get emotional with these things. So my nurse, the nurse that I was working with, she was a really good nurse. She was, she would care for her patients so well, and I learned a lot from her. How to connect with your patients and how to really be there for your patients. That's what I learned from her. And she, she was right there with me, and I was talking to the patient, and the little lady, she was telling me her love story, how she met her husband, and how they had their children together, how he worked so hard, and how she took care of him, you know, their life story and all their children and how happy they were up to the last, you know, until her husband's last day. And you know, she would keep asking like like how could she live without him. And you know, the what is it called, what are the men called, not the priest, is it the chaplain, like came, okay, I'm probably saying it wrong, but if I'm wrong, oh well. But okay, the chaplain man, he came, and because this woman is Catholic, he came and he was, you know, giving her his condolences. And her two daughters were there as well. So we were all, I went into the room with the other nurse and we sat down. We all sat down around her and we were there for her. And the chaplain, he was there and he was, you know, praying. We were all praying with her. It was so nice. It was very nice and heartbreaking to see her that way. Yeah, that broke my heart a lot. So when the chaplain left, I was there with her alone. So I sat down right next to her, and you know, I sat right next to her and I was holding her hand, and I was just listening to her vent and, you know, continue telling me her story. My professors would pass by and they were like wondering what had happened. And when it was time to go, I was with the lady still in her room, and I didn't want to leave. I really did not want to leave. And I stepped out of the room, and as soon as I stepped out, because her other family members were coming, and so I closed the curtain, trying to hold back, because I was tearing up. I already had tears. I'm so sensitive. I already had tears, right? But I was holding back the, you know, bawling. You know, I was holding it back, because I would have. So I was holding it back, and so I closed the curtain and I stepped out of the door, and my two classmates were there, and I was like, ah. I started bawling. I started crying, not loud, but just like, oh my God, like I'm so sad, like she's so heartbroken, it breaks my heart, you know. And my classmates, they hugged me and they're like, yeah, I know. Like, it's hard to see patients go through something like this. So, you know, I did not experience my patients passing away, but I did experience my patient going through, you know, their loved ones, you know, passing. So that was a big learning experience. I'm probably talking low. I always talk low and then I talk loud. So let's see how I edit it so you guys can hear me well. Yeah, that was my last day. So before I left, I went back in the room and I told her bye, and I gave her my condolences again, and she wished me luck through my journey in nursing school. And I had talked to her a little bit about my children and, you know, a little bit about me, and she's like, you know, love your children. She said, love your children and your husband, you know. I told her about my boyfriend too, and she's like, love each other so much and care for your children so much. And so and that was the last time, and I left, and I was so heartbroken the whole car ride, because I usually, during the shuttle, in, you know, to take us back to campus, I would like fall asleep. That time I couldn't fall asleep. I couldn't stop thinking about it. Until this day I think about that lady, and that whole day I learned so much that day. I will never forget that day. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys that, you know, obviously I had my son in September. I was still breastfeeding, and I was like, okay, 12.5 hours in clinical plus like transportation time. My breasts are gonna be engorged. Like, how am I gonna, you know, do it? So I do get WIC. I do get WIC, so they help me out. And you know, when you're only breastfeeding mom, you don't get formula, you get more food. When you don't get formula, you get more food, and you get more, like, you're able to get a breast pump. So they allowed me to get a breast pump, and I was able to take the breast pump to my clinical site. So I had like my little diaper bag with my breast pump and supplies in there. and I had my backpack for all my books and like stuff to write on and stuff like that, and my lunch bag. I was packed. Hopefully I can like insert a picture or like a little video clip so you guys could see what I was dealing with. Sorry, my phone is acting weird. I think the storage is low, so I have to like hurry up and talk. So yes, I was able to breast pump and store my milk in like a lunch bag that I took with ice. And so hopefully I can show you a clip now, or you know, sometime soon. Hey guys, so it is 11 on the dot, and it is Sunday, February 2nd, and I am in my clinicals, and I am going to breast pump because I am breastfeeding, and I have 12.5-hour clinical shifts. I have to pump several times, so I'm going to pump, and yeah, so I'm gonna show you guys how I'm gonna set up my pumping. I'm gonna show you around the room because it reminds me a lot of Disneyland. Disneyland, they have like a breastfeeding, or like they have like this house looking thing where you can go breastfeed your child, or you can take your young toddlers to the potty or stuff like that. So it reminds me a lot of that, so I'm gonna show you guys around a little bit. Okay, yeah. Okay, so this is my bag where I brought my stuff. I brought soda and a few snacks in there. My pump is in there. I brought, let me show you guys what I bring to clinicals 101. That's only because I'm breastfeeding currently. Okay, so I have the cooler. I forgot to put ice in there. I brought nursing pads, which I just changed already. I bought these already. My torta. And I brought the wires, and I brought like 8 bags because 2 breasts. Well, I'm probably gonna put milk. Well, it depends how much milk comes out. Okay, so if it's 4 ounces each, I use 2 bags, and that's it. So curtain, the chair. I'm charging my phone right now, but I unplugged it. Okay, so curtain. There's another one. Diaper changing table, and on this side, some seats, and they also have a curtain if there's not a lot of room, but there's no one in here, just me, so I'll go back into my little and yeah, my overall experience was awesome. I learned so much from this experience, and I hope we can go back soon, you know, at least for like advanced med surg, like, which is coming up in like 2 more terms. So I hope I can get experience then. A lot of my friends did not get experience during their advanced med surg because of COVID-19, and so I hope I do once it's time for me, and to learn more skills, because I do not want to start being a nurse not knowing a lot of my skills. And I see a lot of videos, you know, to kind of know what to do, but you know, it's not the same knowing it in your, like, knowing it or seeing it in your head and actually doing it, you know. So yeah, and yeah, like this video if you enjoyed it and if you saw it up to this point, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't, and comment down below if you like my story, or if, I don't know, I probably forgot something, and when I edit this video I'm probably gonna be like, oh my god, this happened and I didn't say it, or you know, I don't know. Okay, bye guys.